I'm just telling you, whatever's happening next is not gonna be nearly as interesting as I mean, honestly, the guy is
All
I don't
right, we're gonna. Well,
I don't know about
I'll keep
15.
it. I'll keep it as tight as possible. College, you've been outspoken. So in 2005, I wrote for an article for the Financial Times. I said no kid should go to college anymore. And
Did you really?
yeah, and then there was outrage. I lost friendships. I lost family. Everything. Now I feel it's a more of a discussion, but still, everybody will 95% will argue against me, but it's a discussion at least now. And I've seen you speaking out about college. It it really makes no sense to me why kids are going to college now. But I'll let you
Look, it's whenever I talk about this, what comes back over the net is Mike's anti-education.
which is
I'm
ridiculous.
not. I mean, of course not. If you don't have an education today, you are screwed. But an education is not purely the purview of a 4-year degree. Never has been, and hopefully it never will be. But in the late 70s, college needed a PR push, and it got one. Unfortunately, the PR push came at the expense of every other form of education. And so college became a cautionary tale. If you don't go to college, then you're going to wind up over here with some vocational consolation prize. So we set the table in a really jacked up, binary, stupid way. We put incredible pressure on a whole generation of kids to borrow whatever money was necessary in order to get their magic paper. Early on in this interview, like 5 or 6 hours ago, you said you laid out a chronology of how events typically work. But you left out one thing, the first thing. What we tell kids to do today, first and foremost, is decide what they want to be. Then, right, then you go through the process of borrowing money, going to school, getting your degree, interviewing, blah, blah, blah. And then, if you're fortunate, all your dreams will come true because you will get your dream job and then you'll be allowed to be happy. That whole narrative is upside down and backwards. But while we're telling kids that, while we're encouraging them to borrow whatever it takes, we're ignoring a whole other list of viable opportunities. We're also taking shop class out of high schools at the same time. Is there a better way to tell a kid what's meaningful and meaningless than by just removing it from sight? So we took the arts out of the vocational arts. Votech turned into shop. We walked shop out behind the barn, shot it in the head, got rid of that. Then we watched the skills gap get wider and wider and wider and kept telling kids that those opportunities were beneath them while we put historic pressure on the same generation to borrow whatever it takes to get the magic ticket. When people ask me why college is so damn expensive today, I say, well, how can it not be? We freed up a bottomless pile of money. Now we got $1.5 trillion in student loans on the books. The unemployment rate for college graduates today, I just read the article coming over, it's nearly 4%. The average rate's 3.6. Your odds are
Right.
worse with a degree. People are going to start talking about that real soon. And those guys who you lost friendships over are going to feel really stupid in the next, I would say the next couple of years, because the chickens are coming home to roost.
Just everyone talks about income inequality. Why do you think it happens when you're pressuring, 50 million kids to get into more debt than a generation has ever gotten into? By the time met someone the other day, who was going into his junior year, was already $100,000 in debt. And I said, "What are you majoring in?" He said, "Business." I said, "Well, I think you need to switch majors. Business 101. Don't get $100,000 in
Yeah.
debt before you
Yeah.
start having a business with profits, and
Yeah,
there's nothing."
there'll be no profits.
Right.
We're going straight to insolvency.
Right. And you mentioned the point of this skills gap. Again, what was the country built on? It was built on innovation. It was built on all of these skills that literally built the country. And this is the biggest societal challenge, I think.
It's a it's a scandal. It's a scandal. And you know what? I I'll bitch about millennials along with anybody else. They're an easy target, but we're we're the clouds from which the snowflakes fell. We did this. We set the table. We told them the best path for the most people was the most expensive path. and then we step back. And when you look at things like the varsity blues scandal that's going on, and when you look at, there's just so many things about the college experience that don't have anything to do with learning. And there's so many things that are going on at college right now that are antithetical to education and the Constitution. I mean, it's bananas. The safe space environment that has infected our way of thinking is really, it's back to the safety net that we've been talking about. It's back to everybody's sphincter is going to slam shut pretty soon if we don't get this worked out.
And it's funny because I always tell my daughters, don't go to college. None of them listen to me. And I figure, okay, you can't fight with a teenager really. And I want to be there for them later. But my oldest has recently left college, so I'm very proud of her because she realizes in the classroom you learn classroom skills, and to do what she really wants to do, she needs to be out doing it. But right after she left, I got a note from her college. They didn't realize yet that she had left, saying she owes $16.92, or they're going to send it to an attorney or a collection agency, and they hope they don't have to do that unless she pays ASAP. They use the word ASAP.
Yeah.
And I wrote back and I said, her tuition so far, she has spent $132,000. Uh, and by the way, if you look at the three schools closest to you, their employment rates after college are all higher than yours, and their tuitions are lower. So are you real? And you called me the day before for a donation. So are you really going to write me about $16.92? And what does she owe it for? So they sent me, she owes it for her dorm room, or her dorm ruined a microwave, and they all share equally. And I looked up on Amazon, what's a microwave cost? Microwave costs $50. They were charging $250 for the microwave, and then dividing it up among like 50 kids and charging $16. Anyway, this is part of the insanity.
Of course it is.
Mm.
It's micro macro. It's a big giant problem, but the micro examples will make you crazy. You know,
Yeah.
really more money for the student union? Really? A bigger stadium? What are we talking about? This thing that we each have in front of us right now, this miracle gives us access to 95% of all of the known information in the history of the species. The access right now that we paid for when we went to school, that was a big part of the tuition, right? You know, you want to be in front of people who have access to the knowledge that we need. Well, we're those people now. I just watched a lecture from MIT last week for free. You can do the same thing with Yale or Brown. It's all out there. You know, the information is there. I'm not comparing. Look, my experience in college was invaluable. I finished in 1984, 2 years at a community college, a year off, and then a couple of years at a university. I got a liberal arts degree. It cost $11,000. The exact same experience today is 92 grand. In the history of our country, nothing has ever become more expensive more quickly. Not real estate, not healthcare, not food, not energy, nothing. So what's happened to higher education can't be divorced from its cost. And people try and do it all the time because they want to talk about an investment in your future. This is not an investment. This is a shell game.